I just dug out 2 tracks. Okay. I now call to order the Wednesday, February 5th Park Advisory Board. We do have a quorum. The only person absent is Emily Coonrad and Eli Madrone. Asa Saber. Gosh, sorry, I do that all the time. Yeah. Okay. Great. And just real quick, let's go around the room with names. We had one person that wasn't here. Start with Scott.
Can you use your microphones, please?
Scott Whitford, Community Development Director for the City of Sisters.
Can I interrupt you 1 second? Looks like Emily is online. I'm going to
Oh.
put her in as a participant for just 1 second.
Yeah. Actually feels good, all these layers of wool.
Hey, everybody. This is Emily Coonrad. I'm online. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. I am participating. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather today, so couldn't join in person.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure
Right.
thing.
Nancy Conley filling in for Asa.
Laura Elise.
Matt McClellan.
Cool.
Joshua Smith.
Gary Ross, City Council Representative.
Did everyone have a chance to look at the agenda? It's pretty straightforward. It's just a transit hub naming. If there aren't any questions, we're looking for a motion to approve it. The agenda, that is. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Did we get Emily?
Yeah, I raised my hand for an I.
Perfect. My back is to you. I apologize.
No problem.
There are no minutes to approve because we're continuing the process. So we're going to jump right into Rebecca.
I did receive one survey after the packet went out. And there were also some other suggestions after the packet went out. And so that should all be reflected here. And so we'll go through some of the things that exist currently and move forward. The first thing I wanted to do, though, was just do a little recap about the guidelines for naming, just so we can keep those in mind as we move forward today. So from the naming policy, the items that we had called out at the beginning of this process are the following. The naming policy is intended to uphold the city's unique identity while honoring its heritage, culture, and values. The objective is for the name to be easily identifiable. Names should be of local significance, reflecting history, geography, culture, or significant local figures. Naming after an individual should be done carefully and deliberately. That is, when the individual has made verifiably significant contributions. The individual must not be living and must have been deceased for at least 2 years. Avoid names that are duplicates of existing names of parks or facilities to reduce confusion. Geographical names such as geographical features, landmarks, flora, or fauna native to the Sisters area. You're encouraged to make site visits and walk around the property, gather feedback from the community. The City Council specified that the name should reflect the site's function as a transit center. The name may also reflect elements of the site's history or past identity. And they thought that there are no significant individuals associated with the history or development of this property. And so those are the things to keep in mind as we move forward. So just to recap where we are with things, these are the names that came out of our last meeting. And then they were part of the survey so that you could indicate which ones you were your top preferred, just the terms that didn't quite land into a name itself necessarily, or that you just wanted to have there somewhere. And then the actual options that we came up with, I asked you to rank them. And so, as you can see, Gateway and Sisters each got 6 votes. So that's, 2 of the top, preferred terms. Hub got 5 votes, the rest got 3 votes. And I didn't include on here the ones that got 2 votes and 1 vote. Those are in your packet, so if you wanted to revive one of those, you're welcome to do that as well. And then here's the rank order of current options. So the number 1 was Sisters Transit Trailhead. Sisters Lookout Transit Hub, Sisters Crossing Mobility Hub, Sisters Adventure Hub, Sisters Lookout Point Transit Hub, Free City Transit, Sisters Corral Transit, and it goes on to the last ones there. I also asked you if there were additional names, and it kind of came in different ways, so it took me a while to gather them all in one place. Here's the one place. And so we can go through these. So a couple of things, I would recommend thinking about. One is, as we look at the different names and as we go through this process today, is that there is somewhat of a difference between the name Sisters Corral, for example, and the identification of the place. So it could be Sisters Corral Transit Center or Mobility Hub or Transportation. So think about that, because likely in signage, it will look something like this. This will be the name, and then there'll be kind of underneath, maybe at the bottom of the circle or whatever the sign looks like, Mobility Hub, Transit Center. And also in terms of what people will call it, they're not going to say that whole thing. So we have to be comfortable with it being called the Sisters Corral or Trail Dust. Is it identifiable if we say Trail Dust in and of itself? So those are some things to think about. And yeah, so I thought we might start by looking at maybe, I don't know, wherever you want to start, this one, or this one, or this one, and let's do some elimination to begin with. If there are some that we all just agree that we're not going to call it that, so we can just narrow down the list, because we might want to add some more as time goes on, and we want to keep this list more manageable. So if you want to just throw something out,
I'll jump in. The Robin's Nest, I understand why it was nominated, but I don't think the majority of the community would. And to me, that's more of a marshland, maybe the Lazy Z project down the way, we're looking at birds instead of a call to action, for lack of a better word. So I would eliminate that one.
Yeah, I agree with you, but also to Rebecca's point on that one, Robin's Nest you don't really know what that is, right? If you're just going to Robin's Nest, so I agree with eliminating that one.
Crossing,
I agree with that as well.
thank you.
but that's all.
Yeah.
Robin's Nest, Robin's Landing, Robin's Hill.
Can you hear Rebecca okay without a microphone?
Not really. I'm trying.
I thought.
Good call. Right, somebody else gets to pick one to eliminate.
So I would say if we all voted on the ranked order of current options over there, maybe like the bottom 2 or 3 can just automatically be eliminated if we all have already voted on those and those are our lowest ranking options.
Number 6 down. Is that what you're looking at?
Sure, yeah.
I was gonna suggest something similar. The only thing complicating is Corral showed up on the additional names. I don't know if anyone wanted to talk about that one or
Yeah, I'd like to maybe leave that one for further discussion.
And like Rebecca had stated, the preferred terms, I don't think we need to worry about whether it's a transit hub or a crossing or a landing. We just need the key trail dust, happy trail, giddy up, Manzanita, whatever it's going to be out of today sooner. So Rebecca, we eliminated the rank order number 6 down through 10.
Not 7,
That,
right? Because we were leaving Corral.
the, yeah, the Sisters Corral Mobility Hub.
Said from 6 down to be eliminated?
On just that sheet.
On the sheet,
just
right,
that sheet.
the ones that were already prioritized. What if we took, and went around the room and everybody picked maybe one from the other list to replace that? If they thought one was on the other list.
Okay, so we'll have this be our working list. In other words, and we are eliminating all of these. Is that,
7 is discussed leaving. That's what I heard. around.
Because it's on the other list also.
okay, so
So put a star by that one.
okay, we can leave this one.
Yeah,
And we can say that might end up to be Sisters Corral Transit.
yeah.
It might be Sisters Corral Mobility Hub, but the idea is Sisters Corral, let's leave it here too, because we're leaving it on this list. This is our going list right now. And yeah, we can add things to this or take more off. So Sisters Landing Mobility Hub, that's
8, 9, and 10 are gone.
gone. Okay. Okay.
Are there any others on that list? So Lookout Point Transit Hub, number 5. Anyone have a strong attachment? No? Nope.
Taking that one down.
Yes.
Okay.
Emily, jump in anytime you want.
Will do. I'm following along.
Sisters Adventure Hub.
I don't have an attachment to anything on the other list personally.
I was intrigued by that one. I wonder, like, I think it in the context of our discussions last week and thinking about mobility hubs and transit hubs, I think it gets at some of the uses that the other ones might not. It maybe emphasizes the use for like outfitters or people who are coming to town to go do something outside. But I also wonder, if it's on signage, I guess it would have to be called that whole name. I guess I don't know how I feel about that part. That's as far as I've thought.
I'm only going to make a comment based on what you just said. I think Sisters Adventure is descriptive, but I think it needs at least another describer. So it could be Sisters Adventure Station and then the transit hub underneath. I mean, we're talking about the fact that the designation of what it is would be separate from the name.
Right.
And so Sisters Adventure as itself is like, I'm thinking about it myself as I think about how I might name something. So you might want to consider if you want to add another word to it, if you like the word adventure. If you don't, that's fine. But I think any of these may need a little wordsmithing as they come to the top of the list.
Yeah.
To be sure that they're descriptive enough that when you say what it is, somebody knows. The word transit hub becomes, to me, secondary. It has been all along because it's what we're describing. So it's like saying transit hub.
Right. And I think that's what we're trying to get to today is just its key visual descriptors like Sisters Corral or Sisters Mobility. So I like the Adventure Hub piece. It does need wordsmithing, but it connotates this is the beginning of your adventure, whether it's biking, hiking, walking into town, dining. Anybody else want to keep it? There's 2 so far.
This is Emily. I'm personally not in favor of that one because I think it's suggestive that there is an activity at that location where there really isn't. I mean, there could be, right? But it feels to me more like if somebody is Googling that, they're going to be Googling it because they want to find, where can I get a shuttle up to, Ride Trail 99, or where can I get something related to PCT restocking or something. It doesn't feel like the right, like word for what the activities actually are at that location.
And I just want to piggyback off what Gary was saying with it as well. I think we can use it if you just slide in mobility or transit before hub. I think there are a lot of things that will describe exactly what it is. So I think we still can. I think we should leave it on the list to see if we can move it to the top or move it around. Maybe it does fall out, but I think if we can add verbiage to it, I think it works.
Okay, let's leave it for now. Are there any of these other three that we feel strongly, anybody feels strongly they could eliminate at this point? So Sisters Transit Trailhead, Sisters Lookout, and Sisters Crossing.
So on the first one there, Rebecca, so that got the most votes? Is that the way, do we know how many that was? I mean, was it,
No. Because
Nope.
it's a ranked order, so it could have actually ended up as number 3 for 4 of you. But and then number 1 or number 2. So it doesn't mean that the most people put it at number 1.
okay, gotcha.
It just means that in the, adding up of everyone's, it ended up in the top. So, yeah.
So I like that, except for I'm kind of thrown by the trailhead part. I like Sisters Transit, but would it be too far-fetched to say Sisters Transit Head?
Sisters Transit Head.
I mean, that, it just kind of throws me when the trail part's in.
Working with middle schoolers, I don't like it, sorry.
Oh. There's that.
Either that or the,
As a former middle school teacher, I had the same head.
Yeah, Matthew did too. I could see us all going, oh,
either that,
yeah.
either that or the gateway transit part, those two words, because over on the left, you have gateway
Yeah.
in there. So it just seems like we could work Sisters Gateway into that somehow.
Okay, well, it sounds like these are good for now. How about over here? Are there?
Sorry,
any
can I
of
just make a
these-
quick comment
Oh,
on
sure.
the trailhead? Yeah, I was thinking along similar lines to Emily's comment about the adventure hub. It's like if trailhead is especially the final part of the name, like we got a lot of trailheads that are actual trailheads too. So, yeah, I just wonder about the identifiability and potential for confusion. Like if you're looking for the, parking for Peterson Ridge and then you park there, I could imagine
Oh,
some
yeah.
frustrations.
Do you want to take the word trailhead off of this one right now? And we'll consider Sisters Transit and maybe something after it, but not trailhead?
Nod your head if you want trailhead taken off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the confusion there too.
Okay,
Yeah, I support removing that.
okay, well. Okay,
Interrupt one last time. What if we just added 3 in front of Sisters Transit?
Three
3
sisters?
Sisters Transit?
well, I'll definitely, so,
Sounds like you're getting it right up to the 3 sisters.
So while Rebecca's doing that, I did take Gary's assignment and I went to the property and walked around a little bit. And there was actually about a dozen deer just hanging out, resting in the trees. And that was pretty cool. So I enjoyed my stroll there, but I was really struck by the view. I mean, honestly, it's incredible. And so I really like incorporating Sisters in there, and I really like the lookout or vista or something that really captures what I think is really an incredible spot. So thanks to Gary for suggesting that because it was a great little side project.
okay, so on this list, and I'm gonna name all of these. So you probably can't read these, Emily. I'm not sure. But I'll just say them so you can contemplate them. We have Sisters Corral Mobility Hub, Sisters Mobility Hub, Manzanita Ridge, Trail Dust Transit Hub, Saddle Up Transit Hub, Sisters Rendezvous Hub, Sisters Gateway Transit Hub, Sisters Vista Transit Hub, Volcanic Vista, Giddy Up and Go Transit Hub, Happy Trails Transit Hub, Wild West Way Station, Western Welcome Way Station,
Iteration.
the WWW.
I wanted to chime in. I also took Gary's advice. It was a lovely little walk, and took time to do the labyrinth as well, which was fun. I do agree. I think Vista is a very appropriate word to come out of that. And I like that Vista feels less, I feel like lookout seems like there's going to be, that's what I get when I think of the word lookout, but Vista is more like there's a view. And so to me, Sisters Vista Transit Hub is a standout one from that list for me. And then the other thing that I took away was there was a informative plaque, which I don't know if it's planning to stay or not, but there was quite a bit about the history of that location, and it referred to that spot being a gateway. And I do think that having the gateway might be a nice term to keep in our like top consideration as well.
Yeah, that reminds me, I also was wondering about the plaque and if it would stay, because it kind of inspired me for the Vista word, but also the volcanic Vista, which is part of the infographic. And I was like, oh, that's it. That's what we're doing here. So is the infographic going to stay?
Yeah, there are no plans to take it down at this time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, any hard no's here? We
The
can,
Sisters Mobility Hub, to me, and speaking with a few other people, it sounds like it's where I'm going to get adaptive equipment. I'm looking for a walker there. So I think we could probably eliminate
Mobility
that.
Hub.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Manzanita Ridge sounds like a place to go hike to, not stop and catch a ride to me. No. I didn't see any either. I went, okay.
Okay, we're eliminating Manzanita Ridge.
Yeah.
Make sure your microphones are on if you don't mind. Any others jump out at you?
I think I might suggest the Giddy Up and Go is a no, but that perhaps is just my bias coming through, but I feel like it's maybe almost a little campy for the function, is my taste. Nancy,
Any other thoughts about that?
a
That's
little
the
bit,
Gas station.
a
Oh,
little bit.
oh. I liked it because it connotated youthfulness to me.
Yeah.
Let's get up and go explore in town or the trail or whatever, but I'm fine eliminating it. So
So
Giddy Up and Go is gone.
Well, no, that was one voice that came through.
I've
So
only heard two voices so far. So, and please put your microphone on if you're going to speak.
Yeah, I like it, but maybe not for this function.
Couple of no's here too.
Yeah, that one feels to me more like a slogan than the name for a spot. I like it for something else.
Like Nancy, Giddy Up and Go.
No, that's not it.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay.
I mean, honestly, even if you do like a press announcement for the opening of this, you could talk about, Giddy Up and Go. It could be part of the,
Yeah.
the,
Okay. If nothing else is really jumping out right now, so I want to remind what our goal is today is to come up with a number of these I would recommend somewhere between 3 and 5, that we're going to put out to the community in the form of a survey. So that'll run February 10th to the 21st. And then I will compile the results of that and we'll bring it back to the March 5th meeting so you can have the community's input. And at that meeting, you'll make your final recommendations that you want to have staff bring to council. So let's, we're going to have, let's say, this is our final list right over here. That's kind of ambitious of me, I know. But I'll give you lots of space for it there. And we can maybe use this space to pull from here the ones you really want to see start landing in these spaces here. So is there something here that you really want to start moving towards that final with?
How do we feel since we were all fans of Gateway, adding that somewhere into the Sisters Vista, like Sisters Vista Gateway?
That's exactly what I was just thinking. I was thinking Sisters Vista Gateway,
I love that.
you know?
Well, it feels like kind of a mouthful. I wonder, like the gateway is sort of like the roads, the junction, the kind of movement, but the vista is already there. Anyway, I think either could work. I wonder if together they kind of clash a little bit.
Think about when this goes to council. It may get slightly modified anyway. Putting the term, in my opinion, and this is just an opinion, in a name that might get named. We have parks in this town that have 2 or 3 names. We refer to them by 1 or 2. You know, and so if you did Sisters Vista Gateway, I think was what I heard.
Mhm.
People might just refer to it as Sisters Vista
Or the gateway.
or the Gateway. And that's neither good nor bad. You just have to think about how people will abbreviate that as we tend to do in our society. So not disagreeing with anything I've heard. I'm just saying, as you ponder and think about what the shorter name might be from whatever name you put together. As far as having that amount on a sign, I don't think that's a problem. But it might not be called quite that with the populace.
Isn't the ADA compliant pullout up 3 Creeks called the Vista? Do you know what I'm talking about? The overlook?
The White Chest Overlook?
Yeah.
Yeah, up at the top, the White
Isn't it
Creek
called a-
overlook.
It's called an overlook?
It's called an overlook.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, that's a good question. though. I was trying to think,
Yeah.
Look like what they're often. So-
Since we're having that discussion, I guess I'll just share my opinion of transit hub. To me, it seems just too institutional. I think you mentioned ADA. I don't know that fits Sisters. That's my personal opinion.
Would transportation center ring better, or what would you put in there instead? Since we're
Well-
kind of crossing out mobility.
I'm just not sure that we need, I mean, I think people are gonna know that it's a place to park cars and the buses drop people off and it's kind of, it's a rest area, I guess. But to call it a transit hub, just too much. Transportation seems a little bit too long.
Scott, I have a question. It seems that at some point in time, because of some of the funding wasn't, and I could be wrong, I seem to recall that because of the funding that we got from the state, which was for a transit hub, that somehow we had to recognize that in the
Rebecca
naming.
addressed that in an email.
Yeah, no, I checked with Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
He said there were no constraints. from the
Perfect.
funding agencies. Yeah, either current or potential. So,
Thank-
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do think that we need to have something that denotes what it is. If someone was to pull it up on Google Maps, they were looking for a place to meet up. So whether we, workshop the term transit hub or transportation center, I think that we need to have something that is there. But certainly to Gary's point, we can always refer to it colloquially as the Gateway or Sisters Vista, or however it's going to be called. But I do think for mapping for someone who's visiting from out of town, who doesn't automatically know, the Gateway is not a shopping center, the Gateway is the transportation center,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
And that was a discussion we had last time, was Gateway was like a shopping center sounding
I think
Name.
that was the crossing.
crossing.
Yeah.
Okay.
What, I'm asking you folks, because my brain's not here today, thinking about places you go out of town, where you're literally looking for where you can park, where you can leave your car, where you can go. What words do you think you see as you travel to different areas that designate something that you would drive to and leave your car and then charge it or
Park and ride.
park and ride or walk downtown? I know those are all terms, but I don't have anything in my mind. But as you're sitting here thinking transit hub, is there something better? And the idea of, and you're right, we have to think about a lot of our people who come here who are going to do this via Google Maps or something else. What's going to denote to them that they would want to leave their car there as opposed to just drive by it and say, oh, how nice. Because I think one of the things we want as a city is to try to encourage people to leave their car there and walk downtown because of the parking situation and the traffic. So I don't have any answer. I just, as you think yourselves collectively, think about maybe a word that designation you may have seen somewhere else that spoke to you for exactly what you're saying.
And to add to that, I think we can also, as you can see here, the name of the place, the Sisters Corral, which is what people will mostly call it, how it's described has something to do with the name itself. And so when it comes down to these, it may not just be all transportation center, because that's what we've decided we like. It may be a combination of one or another. I think getting these terms down, and then the ones that describe it underneath it may come more naturally once we know what those are.
Can I just ask though, is there a reason we're not using park and ride?
It never came up at the last meeting when we were floating names.
Park and ride, which is something I
Ride
see.
share or,
I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are, so like park and ride is, I think, more strongly associated with like parking to, leave your car for a prolonged time to like go to an airport, train station, that sort of thing. Yeah, and I think just from some, quick reading, it seems like Mobility Hub is an attempt to, by the folks who are designing these things, is an attempt to capture a different function and differentiate it from Transit Hub. Whether it feels like that to the public is different. But, maybe some of our response might be, or the lack of recognition is because it's a pretty new term that's just been created to try to describe, rather than just being just a bus stop or just a train station, something where you can have this mix of functions. So anyway, in my searching, it seems hard to find many examples ones that have already been done, because it seems like the latest rounds of funding are just sort of getting to these projects now.
and it might have been too much of an urban setting tone with the park and ride.
I think the ultimate goal when we went after the grant was to build a transit hub. That was really what the whole idea was, because of property. But then as a council and based on input, we just said, oh, wait a minute. We've got other parts of this property that have low value trees and stuff on them. We really want to have a place where people can charge their car. We want to have a place where they can park and go downtown or park their car in the morning and get on a bus and ride to Bend or ride to Redmond where they're working. They can come back and get off the bus and take their car home. So it's kind of a combination of things. I mean, the back of my mind is visitor parking. Back to my mind is park and ride. To me personally, the transit aspect of it is the least important. As a city, I mean, we want our transit to go there. It's going to be great. It'll all be in one spot. There's lots of reasons why that's good. But for the average citizen, it's not that important.
Okay.
What may be important to our visitors and our average citizens is where you can park, where you can leave your car, where you can charge your car. I don't have an answer, but the thing in the back of my mind on this all along, right from the day we first started talking about it before we even wrote the grant, was, to me, the transit hub was a convenience for our residents, but not so much for our visitors, as I envisioned it in my head. Now, it's grown beyond that, don't get me wrong. But I would encourage you to think, not to be bad to you over here, but to think a little outside of that box a little bit. And if we're not required to use certain terms by the state, does it make sense to focus on things that are more tourist-centric than commuter-centric? And I don't know.
So with that said, and it might be me being myopic, does it make sense to say Sisters Corral? Yes, we like it. Keep it on the list. Trail Dust, nothing else. Trail Dust, do we like it? Keep it on the list. Saddle Up, does it speak to us? So that we can at least get the identifying marker to it, which we danced in circles on for 15 minutes. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, I'm going to write them right
Perfect.
here. Right now, what I heard is Sisters Vista is one of those, and Sisters Gateway is one of those. And they might end up to be Sisters Vista Gateway. I don't know.
But can
But
we
at this
keep going through
point,
that
yeah.
list?
That's what, yep, Sisters Corral. Yes or no? Is it going to end up here? And then this list can go down to the 5 here.
Yes.
So is Sisters Corral going to make the cut?
Nod your head,
Yes.
yes?
Yes, Emily?
See ya, Emily.
Yes.
Okay, Trail Dust.
Okay, it's gone.
Okay. Saddle Up.
Okay.
Sisters Rendezvous.
Dispel.
That's a good point.
Typing that into Google.
Agreed. Okay.
Had to look at it as I was writing it down.
It's a great name, but
Sisters Gateway, we already have that. Okay. Sisters Vista, we have that. Volcanic Vista.
Yeah, no, not for me.
2 no's,
I
3 no's.
prefer Sisters Vista.
Okay. Emily agrees Volcanic Vista is out.
Correct. No. Yes, it's out. No, don't keep it.
Happy Trails.
Too campy
Too
again.
campy, yeah.
Too campy. Okay.
We can have the bathroom play a song when you open the door.
Wild West Way Station.
The only thing I like about that is the station part. When Gary was brainstorming there and just threw out that information, that kind of came to my head why station was not on the list.
Oh, I can
what
write
it's
that
worth.
up here. There's another one of these.
Way station or just station?
Just station, not way station, but just seemed like Sisters Gateway Station or something.
Something to add, okay. But Wild West Way Station
I
is
think
not,
it was a no.
okay. Western Welcome Way Station.
No, you guys are very grumpy. No, no, okay.
Lots of no's, okay.
That
Okay,
was quick.
okay, let's go Sisters Transit.
Gary, we can keep it on there.
Oh, no.
That ended up being Three Sisters Transit.
It's become that, or, yeah, okay.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Does it want to stay here? Three Sisters Transit or Sisters Transit or,
Yeah. Yeah, I like that one.
okay. Sisters Lookout.
That's a yes for me.
Or I think we brought up the overlap between Lookout and Viewpoint and Vista. Like, do we just want to narrow down to one of those, or do we want to have more than one option there?
I think whichever,
one
if you
option.
like more than one, you can have more than one.
Okay, but I think we talked about the word lookout and not really being fond of that.
I agree. I think the lookout was misleading.
I agree.
I feel that way. I
Yeah.
felt that when I was there as well.
Vista really does it.
Okay, so we do not want to put Lookout, Sisters Lookout?
Correct. Delete Sisters Lookout.
Okay, there, because there was one vote for it, but there's only one, right?
It's okay. I can let it go.
Okay.
It's brutal over here.
I
Sis-
know, I know.
Sisters Crossing.
What are we crossing? The mountains, the stream,
Water feature.
river? No.
I think, yeah, the idea is that it's the crossing between the 242, the 20, 126
Junction, not a crossing. Junction,
junction.
Sisters Junction.
Petticoat.
Well,
No, you,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
I like that junction.
should we put Sisters Junction?
Throw it up there
Sure.
and we
Why
can
not?
think about it a little bit longer.
Mackenzie Junction or something.
Yeah. Although Mackenzie, the town.
Oh, yeah.
So does that mean we will not have Sisters Crossing or we will also have Sisters Crossing?
I think because there's already a neighborhood, with the crossing.
Yeah.
Oh.
That'd be a little confusing.
Okay. It's Sisters Adventure.
Did we talk about that sounding like you're gonna find an outfitter there? That this
Was
was
that-
someone else.
You know, that
Yeah.
was, I think
This-
Emily was talking about that. Is
Yeah, this one's a no for me for that reason. I think it'll be confusing.
that a no?
I
Okay.
also agree that it would be confusing. I like the idea of something outdoorsy and fun, but I don't know that that is the way to capture it.
Okay. Sisters Corral, we have that. Okay. So we have Gateway Sisters. We've eliminated Crossing. What about Landing? Is that Sisters Landing
Sounds like
or
the airport.
no? Okay. Lookout, we eliminated Trailhead. We're not sure. We could maybe use Hub, Transit, Station. I don't know. Have we eliminated mobility? Did we say that we eliminated that or we're keeping that on the,
Did we get rid of that because it sounded like you need a wheelchair and a walker and?
That was when it was just the one below Sisters Mobility Hub specifically. I think we kind of stopped talking about the second half descriptors and we're more focused on the first.
yeah, okay.
I agree.
So we'll sort of keep that. We have transit. Yeah. Okay, so our current list is Three Sisters Transit, Sisters Vista, Sisters Gateway, Sisters Corral, and Sisters Junction. How
gonna
do
have
you
to
feel
say-
about that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Can we do Sister Station as one?
Sisters Station.
Is that a gas station?
It might be.
Yeah. Is that too gas station-y?
For me, that's a little too vague, but
I agree that it is gas station and the fact that it's close to that other gas station.
yeah.
Mm.
Never mind.
We are brutal today. Huh?
Sorry.
All right.
Okay, Three Sisters Transit, Sisters Vista, Sisters Gateway, Sisters Corral, and Sisters Junction. Do those look like the 5 you want to put forth? And then we can put the identifiers under each of these if you want to. If those feel right enough, I think we're eliminating Park and Ride. Is that correct? Or is that,
I think so, mostly because it's a multi-use and that really narrows it down to people thinking that's all it is. So if you're bringing your RV in or whatever the case is, it doesn't
Yeah, I agree.
signify that.
That-
it does have a specific use out there in the world.
And so does transit station though.
Transit station?
That's where I'm dumping my garbage to be transferred out.
Oh, yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Well, just the word transit, period.
I would say that put this out. I mean, it looks good. I think that one has three sisters, the other has sisters. You might want to, you don't want to give too many choices, but you might want to give each of those as an either or choice. So Three Sisters Transit, Three Sisters Vista, Sisters Vista, Three Sisters Gateway, Sisters Gateway. I don't know. I mean, or you may just do one of the others and the city council may decide to append the three or take the three off. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
To me, we almost use those terms interchangeably in this town. One is the name of the town, one is the name of the view.
Yep.
And, but, you know, when people ask me, well, why is it named Sisters? It's named Sisters because of the three sisters. You kind of bring it up, it comes up in conversation. I don't have an answer, but, you've got one with three sisters on it and the rest not. So how do you want to handle that as a group, as it goes out to the public? Something to think about.
Well, it seems to me that Three Sisters Transit is sort of done. I mean, you might want to put hub on there or not, but because it wouldn't make sense to have it just be called Three Sisters.
No, what I was
Um,
thinking, each of those terms, Transit, Vista, Gateway, Corral, Junction, Sisters in front of it, should they have three in front of the sisters? That's all I'm asking to think about.
And I think at the last meeting, the connotating three sisters and everything led people to believe it was gonna be up in the wilderness area, and that's
Yeah.
why it was just sisters. I don't know if I'm recalling that correctly or not, because I had lots of conversations about this.
Are you gonna let people in the survey write any kind of note, like have the 5 choices, and is there any like opportunity for them to write a comment down there? Like if you tried out a couple different ones with Sisters Vista and Three Sisters Transit, so that give people an idea that there's different options, there's different combinations you can use these things with. And you don't put them with all, but you throw that out there, it might kind of like get somebody to think that way. And if it's Three Sisters Transit, but they really like Three Sisters Gateway or something like that, that they could write that in. I know we want to be careful about write-in.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I
just a way
don't
to-
think we should have that, but I,
background.
if we
Different
feel
ideas.
strongly that we need to have those choices, we can have more choices. I can double these up and make them all with a 3 in front of it. Or we can just decide they're different names and this one's called Three Sisters and this one's called Sisters, something else.
Good, good point. I guess Three Sisters Gateway sounds like it's somewhere up off, up in the woods.
Yeah, off of 242.
You have to, or off
Yeah.
Forest Road 16 or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like putting them out as is, and then if city council wants to add a 3 in front of it at some point, then they can.
Because the only one that really says to me that I would add a 3 in front if I run city council, I am, at city council, if it came up, would be the Three Sisters Vista. Because I think that Sisters Vista implies overlooking the town. Three Sisters Vista implies the view that you have, and that's the only place where I see the need for the 3. Is just because of the word vista. The word vista's gone, then it becomes irrelevant.
I agree with the logic.
I would agree with that.
All right, so a
And that-
3 in front of Sisters Vista.
Sounds great.
Another thought would be on, if we came up as is with the titles that we have, that maybe the council looks at, or we give them some suggestions on 3 different subtitles, like mobility hub or transit station or,
Mhm.
transit.
Yeah, and we
hub.
can do that now for the public as well if you want. If you want to tag some of these with their identifiers.
I think it might become too complicated. I think if we just have the 5 Sisters Corral Junction comes back to us March, and then we could do what you said, which makes sense to me also. Three Sisters what?
Yeah, I don't think the public is gonna care
Yeah.
about that
I
aspect
think
of
if
it.
you give the city council too many choices, they'll wind themselves in a knot.
Yeah.
You've been on city council, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And unless it gets workshopped, if it comes into a regular meeting, it will.
Yeah,
And send it to them
this is
anyway.
just my opinion, but I do suggest coming up with a full name. Because it's not going to be just Sisters Gateway, and I might like it if it's Sisters Gateway Transportation Hub, but I might not like it if it's Sisters Gateway Mobility Hub. Just as someone taking a survey, like, that's not what I voted for. Because, I think it is important that we separated them, but I do think it's important we come up with a full name
Today.
today. I mean, it's just an opinion. Everyone said something different, so, I am definitely.
What do you all think? As if you're a general public and you say, okay, I'm going to take this survey, do you want to go, yeah, Sisters Gateway, it's going to be some type of mobility hub or transit hub? Do you just want to come up with a name you're going to call it? Because I'm not going to call it Sisters Junction Transit Hub and Bus Station. I'm just going to say, I'll meet you at the junction. I'll meet you at Sisters Junction. Do you want the public to have the say in that crossing, landing, gateway piece, or just the visual name? What makes more sense to you as a layperson?
Well, if I'm coming down the road, just say I'm an out of towner and I'm coming down the road, it seems like there'd be a sign on each end of that. And maybe the sign says Sisters Vista, and you look out there and it's a parking area with restrooms and whatever it is. I mean, it's going to be, you don't need to add transit center or mobility hub.
Well, one of the criteria for the name is that it's identifiable as a transportation center. And I think that's why I'm making this point, is because the name has to make sense. Whatever comes after this has to make sense to the whole name. And it has to be in there. I mean, that was the criteria put forth that I just read at the beginning. That
So
came
my
from,
question is, as a group, does it make sense to send out a survey with just Sisters Corral, Sisters Junction? We're going to name a transit hub. Which of these do you like better? Period. And then we come back with the public input and say, next meeting, we like Sisters Junction Hub or Sisters Junction Gateway, and we present that to council. As a layperson, is it too hard to wrap your head around the difference between transit hub, whatever we're going to have up there, as opposed to just the name Sisters Junction?
You have your list. When it goes out to the public, there's a statement that says, this will be a name for the, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
Any of these names may have some of the following words added to it to denote its use.
Yeah.
And have mobility hub, transit hub, just have it up there.
Yeah,
So when they're considering the name, you're telling them that you're going to append something to it.
Yep.
But they don't have to worry about what is being appended.
I
They can
agree.
make
I
a
like
comment
that.
on it if they want. But rather than trying to figure this out and figure out how they're gonna say it, what it's gonna be, to be real frank, when this comes before council, it might have the word transit hub after it. The council may say, we don't want transit hub.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that you really have two different things here. One is, what name do you want to identify it by? And then how are we gonna identify its function? That's really two different things.
yeah, they are.
I
And-
agree.
And I think that if I would send it out to the person on the street, I'd want to know what name they want to identify it by.
Yeah.
I don't think they give a hoot about its function. Most people, some will. Just a thought to make that.
Okay. Agreed? Okay.
Keep it simple.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah,
Emily, hey, in?
Emily?
Yeah, I love that list, actually. I think it's great.
Okay, so you'll come up with the survey, you're going to mail it out or email it, whatever, sometime this week with a, please take our survey, know that there could be crossing, landing, lookout, trailhead, mobility, blah, blah, blah.
You want to tell me which ones?
Did we
it
narrow
would
it
be-
down?
So I will circle the ones that,
Gateway,
Well, the
But-
gateway is already in the
Yeah.
first half identified.
but it could be
yeah.
Sisters Corral Gateway, Sisters Junction Gateway.
my
Sister-
understanding, maybe this is just how I'm hearing it, but I thought that those were the terms. And then what is going to be added is either mobility hub, transit hub, transportation center.
That was my understanding.
Yeah.
of the discussion.
Okay.
That's what I-
Okay,
So it would be that.
It was
list
a
on the yellow
test.
board.
Okay.
so say it again, transit hub, transportation center, or mobility hub?
That's my understanding.
Those are the three that
Already-
you want on there?
Yeah. we
Okay.
okay, I think you had a,
Make them up with something else.
Mhm.
We had
wash station or something.
4 head nods over here.
Yep.
Emily and I don't count.
We're good.
Okay.
Can I just ask a clarifying question there?
They're added as a statement and what goes out as these terms may be appended to whatever the name is.
Yeah.
Or could be appended to the name above. So you're not asking to vote on.
Yeah, I understand. Mobility hub, transit center?
Mhm.
And transportation center?
Hub, I think, right?
Transportation hub?
Hub is used more frequently. I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, those are the three that I'll put.
And so are
Three
people
Sisters
just,
Vista Mobility Hub or Transit Center or Transportation Hub. Sisters Corral Mobility Hub, Sisters Corral Transit Center. Like
And
that, okay.
after the public comments on those 5 Vista Gate or Sisters, yeah, the top 5, it comes back to us and we will add something at the next meeting to send to city council with our reasoning of our top 3 choices.
Exactly. And I would,
Got it?
Yep.
I really don't want to see more than 3 when it comes before council.
Yeah.
Because it just gets mired.
Yeah, it is.
We're all good people, but we all have opinions and
And it might be good to have, you know, your first choice, second choice, third choice, and even why. Just some of your reasoning behind it. So
Yeah.
think about that
I
too.
think we planned on doing that.
Okay,
We
thanks.
done?
Ah.
Everybody happy?
Nice.
Yeah.
Not me. I was still giddy up and go.
I was waiting for.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
a lot of signage there as
Yeah.
opportunities, I think.
Can have a signal for parking, can have.
Yeah.
You know, there are things that go on that sign. thinking
Yeah.
Visitor.
Yeah.
This is where parking is, or restrooms are.
Dump
This is where
station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see that all the time when you travel.
Yeah.
Those sorts of multiple use things on the signboard.
Yes.
And,
I lost Gary's audio. I think he was getting picked up by somebody else's mic.
Gary turned himself off.
Okay, all right.
What I was saying is that, that some of these things, like designating what the different functions are within that can appear on the sign that's on the road, like dump station or bathroom or parking. With the sort of little universal insignia that you see on every road sign around the United States and Canada and other places,
Right. Are there any
New
other
Zealand.
comments for the good of the cause for Rebecca before we move on to staff update? Right. We're all right?
I would like to, can you hear me okay on this? Okay. I did receive information as part of this meeting, to consider, stage stop or way station.
Well, along the same terms, I just had, who was here, I can't remember her name, but she just tapped me on the shoulder and said, we should throw in travel in the word. And I said, man, I think it's a little late to be throwing in something at the last minute.
Well,
But
it's up to you.
I feel bad that I told her that now.
Well.
Should I feel bad?
Um,
No.
Yeah.
I think that all of those terms that you just brought up are things that we could consider for that second part of the word next
The
meeting.
next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
And that could kind of be the project for next meeting is what is the one thing that we're gonna call that?
I think we already eliminated way station,
Yeah, we did.
but I'll keep these kind of on the list for that discussion.
Okay. Scott, staff update?
Just a few updates. We do, as you might know, we have an RFP, request for proposals out right now for the Northwest Park Master Plan is what we're calling it. That's the Northwest Park is what we refer to as the 2.8 acres that the city owns that it's at the northwest corner of the Sisters Woodlands. In the Parks Master Plan, it was kind of contemplated somewhat as a multi-use some kind of multi-use facility. And we had some concepts done to kind of see what the initial feasibility of it was. But we're looking for a consultant to kind of take those a step farther and to really test the feasibility of what that could be and what it would look like and how much it would cost and how we could finance it and all that good stuff. So that closes on the 20th of February, and we're getting a lot of good inquiries from a lot of landscape architects for landscape architectural firms. And if all goes well, we'll have a consultant picked and ready to go by mid-March or so. And so maybe by the first meeting in April for this group, we could have them come and kind of kick it off and kind of we can review what the scope of the process will be and the engagement and all that stuff and get your guys' feedback, initial feedback on it. So that's a fun project coming down the pike.
Scott, can I ask what the criteria is on with selecting a landscape architect for that?
Sure. Yeah, it's there's kind of some standard criteria that it's kind of more general standard criteria that we use on all of our RFPs. Let's see, experience, response to the scope of consultant response to the scope, how they kind of take an approach, how they approach what we propose to them as the project, you know, their experience, technical and other qualifications, and their references count for some. So basically those three things.
Okay.
Yeah.
If there's an opportunity to be a part of the selection committee, I'd be happy to volunteer my time for that.
Okay.
I've been through quite a bit of that.
All right, we'll keep that in mind. Yeah, we talked about maybe what the makeup, myself and Matt Martin, who's another planner here this morning, as we met with one of the initial, a local landscape firm that was wanting some questions. They were asking what the makeup of the interview committee was, and I said that it would probably be myself or Matt and probably Paul Bertagna, maybe Jackson Dumanche, and then possibly a Parks Board member or a council member on that. So we'll keep that in mind as we flesh that out.
I would say the same. I'd like to see a representative from this group. Or, you know, I'd volunteer if you need a city council member too, because I've done park design in my time with special districts with Lamb Lane, a number of them. And there are good companies out there that specialize in what we're talking about, as opposed to someone who designs a school or designs a city building. These folks look at how to fit what you want for amenities into a given space and how to make that work. And it's a unique expertise, and there are people out there, and some of them based here in Oregon or in the Northwest that are actually very good.
Yeah.
So that's a benefit for us, quite frankly. We're not having to go to New York or Chicago to bring somebody in.
Scott, is there an initial budget set for this?
Yeah, it's $90,000, so it's a pretty healthy budget for this kind of feasibility. You know, it's not going to get us design drawings or anything of that. It's going to be conceptual plans, but it's a healthy budget to do a lot of outreach and get to a point where we have a couple different, I think we've asked for them for a couple different concepts that we can consider, up to 3 maybe, including possibly something, you know, that's more, you know, if we find out the feasibility of something like this just doesn't fit there, something, what else could go there instead? So yeah, it's a good budget.
And I'm already getting.
Is that it?
And just, I'm trying to respect your time here, just give you just a real quick update on the UGB process. We have just last week completed the 4th steering committee meeting on the review, and we're going to go to planning commission tomorrow night and then council next week. And we'll be reviewing the summary of the open house, all the open houses, both the in-person and the online open house that we did, and all the feedback that we got from that. So we'll review the summary there. We'll also talk about the proposed rezone of some lands that are north of Mackenzie Meadows Village that are going through the county process right now. And the primary purpose of that is to be able to rezone their lands, to be able to position them as what we call priority 1 lands and potentially be considered for inclusion into the UGB. So we're kind of asking steering committee, planning commission, council, what should we do with that? Because the process, the timelines might not align perfectly. So do we want to kind of do a little timeout? Do we want to keep going down the path we're going? Do we want to have two different options, one including their property and one not, just to kind of see how it goes so we continue to make progress and not have to stop? So we'll get some feedback from the planning commission, then council will ultimately kind of weigh in on what they want to do next week. But we also, so basically the kind of the summary of the feedback that we got from the steering committee and from the public was that alternatives 1 and 5 were scored higher than if you're familiar with the numbers, higher than the 2, 3, and 4. And there was a recommendation from the steering committee that we just kind of put alternatives 2, 3, and 4 to bed, so to speak, so that we can kind of concentrate on the areas that we do think have merit. So that's what's going on there. What I miss, Councilor Ross?
That sounds really pretty accurate. I think that, you know, you may have seen in the Nugget today, there was that, if you haven't seen the front page of the Nugget, there was an article actually about what Scott was referring to, that the steering committee is asking, I believe from what I read in the article, I hasn't been bought before me yet, that the city requests an expedited process on the part of the county so the land could be included. I think those are things we're just going to have to look at and consider. I think the need for buildable land is important, and I think that every piece of land has its own issues. So, but that's what I know.
Yeah.
And the email letters have been flying in as well. Once that the property over by the school district, that's what we're referring to, that section of land next to the conservation area. There have been numerous folks weighing in on that, with differing opinions, we should say.
And at some point, once we get a preferred alternative, we're going to have to apply comprehensive plan designations to those areas, kind of high-level designations. And as you guys know, a big part of that is parks, 19 acres of parks. So we'll have to figure out kind of how we can maybe get some of that in front of you guys and get your feedback so that we can pass that on to the steering committee and the planning commission and the council.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks. What's that?
Anything else?
That's it.
Scott, it's still our goal to try to put that before the state, before the end of the year, is it not?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, Spurd is not here, so I'm going to skip over that. And then is there other business? We're going to start with Josh. Do you have anything to add? No? Doug? Oh, Emily, sorry.
Nothing else. Thank you.
Matthew? Nope. Okay, I do. I saved the best for last. In the overall master plan of the trailhead, lookout, landing, crossing, hub, transit, whatever, I've had 2 requests from different entities. And one is, I'm not going to get the name right, but it's the human trafficking group that's very active in Central Oregon. And they have come to the park board, I believe, and to city council for sure, to ask for permission to put stickers with the 800 number to call in the public city-owned bathrooms. So going forward, I'm hoping that we can do something to acknowledge their work and efforts, whether it's still allowing them to put stickers in the bathrooms because they'll be open year-round now, or different signage, I don't know. They didn't get into the specifics, but I think just allowing the stickers to be put up in the bathrooms would be a good nod from us to pass on to city council. And then the second one, full disclosure, I am on the Explore Sisters executive committee or board. We're doing great things. And one of the requests is that when the transit hub is built, the wayfinding station, whatever we're calling it, that one of the maps, like the newly revised ones by First Street Park and by the gallery, be allowed to be embedded somewhere. It could be under the little covered kiosk area, and the QR codes that show shopping, dining, hotels be allowed to be put there, because it is basically the information center coming in to town. And we're working with the Forest Service so that when their new facility opens, that it'll also have the same information where you don't have to go in and hound the employee saying, where do I go to find PRT? So think about that so that the next meeting coming up, we can take action if the board agrees or the advisory committee agrees to ask for permission for that in this overall packet. If that makes sense.
Sorry, Nancy. President of the Business Association, it's my understanding that those maps previously have been completed by the chamber. Are you guys taking over
No,
that now?
they were 12 years ago from the chamber. They had grants and they were going to have, I think, 12 throughout town. But with the transition, with the transient lodging tax and the creation of Explore Sisters, that new iteration is Explore Sisters. And that's a year old. And they were they're brief in design, so you don't have to keep going and changing businesses that come in or go out. It shows the major waypoints of where people want to find the bathrooms or the trailheads. And so it will be a different iteration, maybe, I don't know. It could just be the QR codes like where the Visitors Information Center is now. You can scan for food or hotels or outdoor.
The wayfinding maps that were originally around town, I remember first looking at when I moved here, one was in front of what was the chamber building now, and one over in the middle of town. I think the thing that they always felt a little behind what was going on in the town related to businesses and opportunities, because it's a fixed thing and it's expensive to update them. And so there were businesses that were no longer in existence that were on the maps, and there were also numerous new businesses that were not reflected. And if you were not in the chamber, the chances were pretty good your business wasn't on there, even though those were designed to wayfind for everybody. So I think that what you're talking about is that this would include every business in the community, the opportunity for every business to be listed, every accommodation to be listed, every eatery to be listed, regardless of how long they've been here.
Yeah.
If it's done electronically, it can be updated quickly.
And it would be electronic. It wouldn't be printed other than,
And there
The
are
larger
excellent
wayfinding.
examples of this in the city of Joseph. If you've ever walked around in downtown Joseph, on every street corner, there's a little sign that says, this is where such and such was. You can scan a QR code and it tells you what went on there. It can also direct you to eateries and things within the town. So they don't have to be large monuments the size of the table. They can also be far smaller things. And so I just think outside the box as you do this and bring it in, but I've seen examples of it, and I've actually been pushing on this bandwagon for about 4 years, maybe 5.
yeah, the big cement rock pedestals just
I mean,
don't work very well.
for some people, they will.
Yeah.
Someone like me, I might look for that because that's what I'm used to looking for, given my age. For someone like some of the other folks in this room, they're going to look for that sort of quick, simple QR code or a website that has it on it or something along that line, and that can be updated quickly and regularly. So
that was it for me. Any other comments, questions, concerns? You're all going to take the survey when Rebecca sends it out. You're going to tell your friends to take the survey. We'll come back. What? Okay. All right, that's it. I adjourn at 5:14, the February 5th Park Advisory Board meeting with the last information from Emily.
Thank you so much. Nothing else for me.
All right, thank you.